and welcome to Off the Tee. My name is Chris Exusion. You can find me at Chris Ebom on Twitter, and my golf page as well at OTT Matchups. And it's the Masters, my favorite time of the year. Bucket list matchup I want to go to. Event number one on the board. One day I'll figure it out. But first time having a guest on the show. Harry Mayes, one of my favorite Philly personalities. Listened to him on the radio for a long time, and now he's doing things with Swing It and Ding It on the podcast on Fox Sports The Gambler. And he's also on 11 a.m. on The Middle with Eitan Shander and Barrett Brooks. Harry, how you doing?
Chris, great to be with you, man. I didn't know that I was your first guest. What an honor to be guest number one on the Heat Ratio.
Yeah, well, thank you. Appreciate it. Switch platforms going live now, so questions will be answered and everything of that sort. And and actually a funny story. You probably don't remember. You did so many spots and everything, but when you were on that that radio show in the afternoon with Tony Bruno, you used to make appearances.
Yeah.
And you went to the Jug Handle Inn right in my backyard.
Sure.
And so I went to your show one time with my buddy, and I was watching everything, having a beer, having some wings. And, you guys had your little breaks. I went up to talk to you, and I talked to you about college football. And we talked about Nevada football and Colin Kaepernick.
Yeah.
So that was my first conversation with you so many years ago and everything. But full circle now, we're going to be talking golf. So, I'm real excited about this.
You never know what starts at the Jug Handle Inn. You know what I mean? You never know where those conversations end up.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is the greatest week. One of the greatest
I'm
weeks.
Enjoying a nice. What's up?
No, this is one of the greatest weeks in sports. I mean, I know it's one of your favorite weeks, but the Masters. I mean, I call it the week of Nance because Jim Nance does the Final Four, and then he does the national championship game. Then he hops in a private jet and flies to Augusta, Georgia, to spend the rest of the week at Augusta National and calling the greatest golf tournament in the world. What a week of work. I mean, that is not work. That's a dream.
Yeah, that's pleasure. Absolutely. Yeah. That's something you truly love doing. You do the National College Championship and then go to Augusta. You can't beat it. And Harry Mayes, he covers everything sports betting, not just golf, but I know golf is his main passion. And that's why I wanted to bring him on. And pretty much wanted to get into it. Augusta, the stuff I've been hearing about for the most part, the greens have been kind of fast, actually really fast. What I've been hearing, they haven't even been green. They've been like brownish purple. Have you heard about this?
Yeah, I heard that they have a tint of purple already on a Tuesday, which is really scary. When you start thinking about, I know they're going to get a little bit of rain this week, but not much, I don't think. So Saturday, Sunday, those greens will really be fiery, and the golf course is going to play so much differently than it played for the guys back 5 months ago in November when Dustin Johnson went to get his green jacket. But they say that this is probably going to be the fastest Masters as far as firm and fast conditions they've had in several years when it was played in April. So I'm anticipating some tough scores.
Yeah, I mean, last Masters, we're lucky to have two Masters in one season.
Yeah.
But as far as the last Masters goes, it was wet and just every ball was sticking perfectly. It was like a cheat code for these guys. These guys are already good enough as it is.
I know.
And they get this kind of advantage. It's just a joke. Like Dustin Johnson just blew away the field, and there wasn't even any competition on the weekend.
I know, and it's like when guys like you or I or most of the people listening play, like I don't like wet conditions because I like to get a little run on my drive or anything off the tee. These guys don't need that because they fly at 310, 320 in the air, and then they know they can stick it in a green in any of the quadrants, these fantastic green complexes at Augusta present. So it works for them. It doesn't necessarily work for guys like us.
Sure, the average Joe that's just trying to get it on the green at some point for the most part. But, I know. So I actually got some new clubs. I ended up getting a new 3-wood and 3 hybrid because my long game's just atrocious.
Yeah.
So I ended up getting last year's pings, and it's been like night and day because I ended up getting like a $20 used driver because I just started getting into the game, and as soon as I started getting more in love with the sport, and then now it's like, oh my gosh, the ball's rolling like 20 more yards than it would before.
There's incredible
It's
incredible
just
technology out there right now. I mean, if you're whether you're picking up the game or whether you've been in the game for a little while and you haven't bought clubs in a while, it really will do you a lot of good to go investigate, new drivers, 3 woods, and a set of irons, because what they've done with technology in the last 10 years is it's light years what it was 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah, you're right about that. But let's get into the Masters. Have you
Sure.
ever been to the Masters?
Yeah, I have. I was fortunate enough. I lived in North Carolina for 7 years, and I'd go back there in a second, by the way. It's beautiful. But I took a bus trip one year from the Raleigh-Durham area for the Wednesday practice round, which would be for tomorrow's practice round. And it took about, 4 or 5 hours to get down there. And we got there very early in the morning, walked in, and my first entrance into the property, that's what you have to say when you're at Augusta. You're entering the property, So you come into this entrance in the back where the buses drop you off by the number 6 and the number 16, which are 2 par 3s. One is a downhill par 3, number 6, and the other one, of course, is the famous 16 along that nice little pond there. There's an entrance right back there, and that was my first entree into what is Augusta National, and I was literally blown away, Chris. The whole day was that. It was, it's literally the cleanest, most pristine piece of property on the planet. It is unbelievable. It's impeccable. Like, there's not a piece of pine straw or a blade of grass out of order there. It's unbelievable. The food is cheap. The beers are cheap. Literally, you're paying $3-4 for a beer, and you're paying $1.50 for a pimento cheese sandwich. It's just a fantastic trip. Whatever you can go Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and the practice rounds. Wednesday's the best because the par 3 tournament is typically done in the late afternoon. Now they didn't do it in November, and they're not going to do it tomorrow either because of the restrictions and so forth. They'll probably get back to that next year, but it is highly worth it. If it's really tough to get tickets to the 4 rounds, obviously, as you probably tried. You get in a lottery and you always get your letter back saying, sorry, thanks, try again next year. But the practice rounds are a little bit easier to get. They're hard to get too, but they're a little bit easier. And that Wednesday day is phenomenal.
Oh, yeah. I know. The good thing you brought that par 3 contest. I was assuming it was going to be going on tomorrow, but I guess with all the protocols, not really.
No, they're not doing it.
I've been in that list every year for the Masters. I've been to the Accenture match play when it was in Tucson because I graduated from University of Arizona. So I was out there in Tucson. I had a buddy that always got corporate tickets. So you used to go there and send it in and just lay out on the green and just get in the way of everything for the most part. But I've been also to the BMW Championship. That was also in PA. And the U.S. Open, that was over at Marion, I believe, right?
Right. That was 2013.
Yeah. So those are the ones I was getting to. But the Masters is definitely like my number one bucket list sporting event, no doubt. I mean, Super Bowl, all that stuff is great. But I heard like the grass is like almost fake that you walk on. So
it really is. You just can't imagine, nature looking that perfect, for that many days in a row. I mean, there's old stories, and I don't know if they're really true or not, but I do believe them, that they'd stick like, ice in front of the azalea bushes and blow, fans on them to blow the cold air on the azaleas so they don't bloom too soon, because they want this whole thing. They want this property looking just, as perfect as it can for this week. And most times they get it 100%.
Yeah, it always looks immaculate. The birds are chirping, everything's blooming, it's perfect. There's nothing on the ground. But let's get into the business. What we're here for the betting for the most part. When you look at Augusta, what do you look at when you're handicapping? Are you looking at like more of like a course history, or are you just looking at somewhere else for that?
Well, it's a combination of everything, as most things are. But course history is big here because, this is one of these venues where it's the same venue every year. They know where the pin positions are going to be on Sundays. They know, what kind of tees they're going to get, on a par 5 in certain days, and what, different clubs they're going to be hitting into these greens. And, all the green complexes are gigantic, and there's quadrants where they know where they're going to have to, stick a ball. And there's the familiarity is a big advantage, I believe. Having a lot of history at this place gives you an advantage. Also, if you're a high ball hitter, it's a huge advantage here because you want to be able to just drop it on the green and get it to sit. The other advantage is a guy that putts, maybe tends to let it lag and die at the hole. Those guys tend to do better on these greens because they're so undulating. Being a guy that's very aggressive with the putter sometimes can get you in some real big problems where you got 6 feet coming back, for a par, and you were looking at birdie, and now you got a possible bogey on your hand. So those are some of the things I look at. Guys that have done well here in the past, sort of horses for courses. They don't necessarily have to win it, but you can get some nice top 10 and top 20 and top 30 value with guys that have had good history there, or maybe have won it in the past and are maybe a little bit longer in the tooth, but they always seem to get inspired when they drive down Magnolia Lane and tee it up at Augusta.
Yeah, I feel like that. The greens being that fast with the approach shots, you got to beat that on. I think that's number one.
Yeah.
The high shots you were talking about, one of the guys that came to my mind that shoots one of those high shots all the time is Bryson.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts about him?
Hey, he's a storyline each and every week, and I'm starting to come around on him, just for what he brings to the tour. I think he's starting to really be more comfortable being Bryson. He's being a little bit more fun and not just so, the mad scientist looking out there, to bash every shot 400 yards. I give him a chance each and every week because he's so intuitive and will, work harder or as hard or harder than anybody else to try to figure it out. And that doesn't mean it's going to go well each and every time he goes to a place like an Augusta National. We saw him win at the U.S. Open. I didn't think he could do it there. He proved me wrong. That this whole strategy that he has, now makes sense to me because I saw him do it. So I can't rule him out. He's not one of my plays because there's not a whole lot of value there either. But, that might be one of these. What I tend to do is, for winners, I might take one or two guys in a major early on with some value, or a guy that I really think has got a really good chance to win. But then comes Saturday morning when they readjust the odds for round 3, when I've seen the cut's gone, and there's not too many people that are going to get cut here because there's only 88 guys in the field. But you just sort of weed down that field where you can see, hey, at the beginning of the tournament, I thought there might be 30 guys with a legitimate chance to win. Well, now I think there's only about 15 to 18 guys that can win it. And now I'm going to go with the readjusted odds for a win on a Saturday before round 3.
Yeah, that's a good thing you brought up with watching the first few rounds. As far as the stuff that I bring out for Fox Sports The Gambler and everything, I've been known for my second, third, fourth round live matchups. And I typically use the shot link data, which is, I feel, very important. It kind of tells the story of every golfer. And unfortunately, Augusta holds these stats to their chest and they don't expose it.
Right.
Which is going to be a killer for me as far as that goes. But I'm going to have some more matchup plays for the actual full tournament themselves because I found a lot of good spots for it. So,
well, you are gaining a reputation as the matchup king here. I don't know if you know that yet.
Well, I appreciate it. I've had a good run. I've been, just analyzing the data and, going against the guys of SNED and, guys of that nature. Even though we had a hot week last week, but as far as the matchups go, I know there was a couple group matchups that you're looking into.
Yeah, there was. I got two here that kind of caught my eye. Jordan Spieth obviously is the talk of the week, and rightly so. It's great that he won last week. It's great that he's back because it's not just last week. He's put together a couple of good weeks in a row here. It was only a matter of time, I think, till he knocked down a win and broke the winless streak. But his resurgence is great for golf. It's great for this tournament. The only problem is now he's getting a lot of love, and people are all kinds of people are jumping in on him. But I liked him in a matchup with Scotty Scheffler on DraftKings. I got in at -137. It's already been bet up. I think he's over 145 now, if I'm not mistaken. But Scheffler's a high ball hitter too. I think he's going to eventually have a lot of success here at this tournament. But I just look at the caginess and the experience of Jordan Spieth, and now he's getting that confidence back. and the flat stick is starting to respond the way it did back in 2015, 2016 time period. So I'll take Jordan Spieth over his Texas Longhorn buddy Scotty Scheffler. And the other matchup I was looking at is Webb Simpson's not getting a lot of attention here, but he's a guy that it seems like every time we're in a big tournament and it's on a Sunday and he's got a 10-footer for birdie, like he just puts approach shots close enough where he has always got a birdie putt. I'm going to take him at -106 over Daniel Berger in DraftKings at -122.
Wow. I think you might have been looking at my notes a little bit. I'm on the same exact page as you.
No way.
I literally have 3 matchups and you hit 2 of them.
Oh, good. Well, I feel good now because
I think we're on the right page.
Beautiful. I don't know. I hope I'm not mushing you.
No, I don't believe in a mush.
Okay. Well, I do because I worked with Tony Bruno.
That's true. I never worked with him. So, but I want to get into that Jordan Spieth matchup. As far as Scheffler goes, he played those 11 rounds or so. That was the matchup play. I think that was a big wear and tear. But I actually wanted to look at his 4th round of the Valero Texas Open. I think it kind of showed his true wear and tear. He was -2.5 strokes gained approach, which is unheard of for him. And he was almost 1.5 strokes gained putting. He just didn't really have good numbers with anything. He was actually in the negatives tee to green. I think you're eventually seeing that wear and tear. I'm a big Scotty Scheffler fan. I've bet him many times because you get great value on a rise and fire golfers, I like to say. And here, I think you're going to see the wear and tear. You can't have that wear and tear at Augusta. And Spieth is peaking at the right point. You're paying a premium, but you know what? I think that's good there. And Webb Simpson, Berger hasn't really wowed me this year. He's had tons of talent, but he hasn't played well at Augusta. Simpson's had great course history. We talked about course history being a factor when picking this. He's a very reliable golfer, as you said, with the putting. He's great around the green, which if the greens are going to be really fast, that's going to be very important. So if he has that combination with the two, like a Patrick Reed in that aspect, I'm not taking Patrick Reed in anything, but now that I'm hearing how fast the greens are, I think that's something you have to consider at that point. And he hits a lot of fairways, Simpson. You got to hit these fairways. That's always important. He's the king of hitting fairways. That waste management playoff against Tony Finau, he just hit every fairway, and Finau just hit every other side of it. And I think that was the key for him for winning that tournament. And for pretty much, I saw it at +100. It might have switched at some point. I think more people are getting on the Webb Simpson train a little bit, but I'm right there with you. I think those are 2 really good plays, and I don't mind laying the juice on either.
Yeah, and to quote the late great Ken Venturi, Webb Simpson is sneaky long off the tee. You don't think of him as a long hitter, and because nobody's ever mentions it, but he can get it out there.
Oh yeah, for sure, definitely. And I know you're looking at a top 40 that you're eyeing up here. What were you looking at there?
Yeah, here's where I go with the Sage veterans at a place like Augusta National, a guy that it doesn't hit it a long way. But he's great with his wedges and great with the putter, and he's won here before. And if he's a top 40 at plus money for +120 for a guy like Zach Johnson, I am all over it. All over.
He's a guy that's been putting unbelievable. I don't really like to rely on putter guys that are really great at putting, but he's been so consistent at it for the most part. He's won here before. I can see where you're coming with here. I actually have a top 40 myself. A guy that actually should have won it 2 years ago, Francesco Molinari at even money. He's a guy that he's played here 3 out of his last 4 times, not finishing worse than 33rd. I know he hasn't really done a whole lot this year. He kind of fell apart when Tiger just decided to go on fire. Brooks was hitting in the water. Everybody just started hitting the water.
Right.
Like, oh man, Tiger's back. And they all just like crumbled for the most part. But he likes playing here a lot. I actually had a future on him at 100-1, but that got destroyed pretty much because now he's even higher because Spieth decided to win the Valero Texas Open and ruin my future bet of Molinari. So I had him at 100. It's not one of my main plays, but I put in for the value. I did it with Tony Finau too at 33-1. I didn't feel like he'd be worse than that. Now he's at like 37. He's just been so bad. I don't recommend playing him to win because he's just been in terrible form. But when I took him, he was playing unbelievable, and I thought that could have been his stepping stone to get through. But those are futures I had there. So Molinari, even money, should make the cut.
He strikes the ball very well, and he just likes it here a lot. So that's where I'm going with. Yeah.
He's one of those steady Eddie guys. He doesn't blow you away in any of the categories, but it always seems like, come Saturday, back nine, he starts to, other guys fall back and therefore he rises because he's just really steady.
Yeah, absolutely. So you got any top 30 that you're liking over here? What do you got here?
Well, I was looking at Matt Kuchar, and I've decided to move away from it. Just because, and you brought up one of the reasons when it comes to Scheffler. These guys played a lot in that match play a couple, 2 weeks ago, and Kuchar seems to play every week. He does rebound really well for a guy of his age too. He plays a lot, but he's not a high ball hitter. Has had mixed results at this place. It was plus 138 for the top 30. I haven't put it in my play. I had it written down when we we were exchanging some information as far as, where I was going to go as far as top 30s, top 20s. But I haven't put it in yet, but that was the guy that I was thinking of. What do you think of it?
Well, I'm the ultimate Matt Kuchar hater, I'll be honest with you. Ever since
he's cheap.
This caddy,
yeah.
I lost it there. I worked in the tip industry pretty much all my life. I was a poker dealer. I was pit boss, all that stuff. So I was a guy that always relied on tips for the most part. So I felt the caddy's pain because he made a deal with him, but it's not like the guy was hurting.
Yeah.
He's a well-respected golfer. He's got Bridgestone.
He's rich.
He's a young golfer.
He's rich. Let's put it. I mean, dude, he lives in Sea Island, Georgia. He's rich.
Exactly. and you know what? I saw that one with the Wyndham top 10 guys. There was a video clip. I wanted to bring it up. I forgot to put it on. But Kuchar was saying he was off by 3 points, and then Rory goes, "We know how much he worries about money." And he was busting his balls about that. I thought that was hilarious.
Good. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
we'll keep
I'm
him
really
out.
happy to take that.
We'll keep him out.
Yeah, keep him out of there. As far as the top 30, I'm looking at a guy, Jason Kokrak, plus 110.
Long
He's a guy
hitter.
that's been great this season. 3 top 10s in his last 5 events. That's outstanding. I know this is the big event. This is the Masters. He only played here once. He already got the jitters out, so he's not a debutante, which I like. So he got that out. He drives the ball over 306-yard average. He hits about 60% of his fairways, and he's 16th in strokes gained off the tee in this entire field. So I think that's a good number for a top 30. He's kind of a sneakier play that I think people are going to play on daily fantasy. But I really like Kokrak here. He's been really consistent off the tee. And I think you need to be good off the tee here, and I think he fits that bill. And he's actually a pretty good putter.
Yeah, he's a lot better in his short game than a lot of people give him credit for. Won out at Shadow Creek a couple of months back, and I think a lot of people really didn't even know who he was until he won that tournament. But you're right. I mean, he hits it a long way. I don't think the moment is too big for a guy like that because he's got such an easygoing, I don't give a rip kind of attitude, and I think that plays well for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Dan Green checking in 10% for the caddies, no matter what.
Oh, exactly right. You have yes, absolutely 10%.
Especially if you win it, you should kick him a little extra, maybe. I mean, he's so rich, like you said before.
Yeah,
so.
Total.
But I'm gonna look into actually I'm gonna step away from the top 20s. I'm gonna get into a bet that I like to call the lottery ticket. It's leader after first round. It's a good bang for your buck. I've hit a few of those on Fox Sports and Gambling.
I saw that.
With little rafters on the board and everything. So there's 4 guys I'm looking at. Bryson DeChambeau, 20-1. He's just great off the tee. He's one of the best strokes gained putting in the field in general. Matthew Fitzpatrick, 33-1. This guy's a dog. He's always competing in these big kind of events. I'm going to look at what he did in the tournaments here. He got a 10th at the API, 9th at the Players, 11th at the WGC, and 5th at the Genesis. These tournaments are extremely hard. These are very tough courses.
Yeah, he plays well on hard.
Before.
He plays well on hard golf courses. You're absolutely right. I think he's destined to win a couple of majors, I think. But now,
absolutely.
Now he wants to be known as Matt Fitzpatrick. I wonder if Augusta is going to change the little name for the
board,
for the board, if it's going to say Matthew, and how they'll introduce him at the first tee.
All right, so we're getting a question here from Dan here. He said, thoughts on Fleetwood? I'll let you start off with this one here.
Oh, I am totally out on Fairway Jesus. I had liked him a while back, and he has failed me so many times. He's yet to win on the PGA Tour, as everybody knows. But I kind of think that he's a very likable guy, and he can hit some irons, and I get it. But I think his window is closing, and he's one of those guys that I don't know that has really that longevity to play at that top level, and I think he may be missing his window to win one.
Yeah, I think he is honestly the Tony Finau before the Tony Finau.
Yeah,
he's a guy that he's gotten close but hasn't won. I'm just looking at his stats right here. He does drive the ball over 300 yards, but he doesn't do anything like amazing. His around the green game is okay. His approach shots, he's been in the negatives so far in his 50 most recent rounds. So a guy that's in the negative in approach shots, I want no part of here.
Right, and in the Masters, he was
says, a fairway Jesus. Also,
he was tied for 19th in November, tied for 36th in 2019, tied for 17th in 2018, and then tied for 62 in 2017. So maybe if you want to throw him in as a top 20 kind of play, maybe.
I think you're even still stretching because of his approach numbers. I think that's the number one thing. I mean, especially these greens are running off like crazy. I think that's going to be something that I'm not really looking at. And there was actually a couple more guys I was looking for first round. Also, Webb Simpson, 35-1. He's a guy I know you're very bullish on, and he's a guy that's led after first rounds before. He gets hot real quick with the putter, and his around the green game is great as well.
Let me ask you a question. When you're evaluating these first round leader guys, do you look at when they tee off? Are you a guy that looks at, hey, guys in the morning are going to get the fresh greens, they're going to get, better conditions, that kind of thing? Do you look at tee times and groupings?
I do at times when it comes to wind. When the wind is a big factor, I know there's going to be like 40-mile-an-hour wind. That will be something I look at. I mean, when I figure these out, as far as the first round plays go, I get my guys, and then I see where they are on the tee times. Most of the time, it usually doesn't matter. I kind of get lucky for the most part as far as wind goes. But no, I just go on who has been playing good in those first rounds based on the kind of designs these courses go with over here. We got a question from my man Mark Drumheller here. He says, thoughts on Sungjae at 138 for top Asian nationality props. Can Siwoo or CT Pan challenge him?
Oh, Sungjae Im is always my top Asian. I love those nationality plays, by the way. Those are great. Sometimes when there's so many plays, you can get like top 3, top 4, but Sungjae, everybody knows he plays every week. He finished second in November at the Masters. Going to be a totally different golf course here, but he is a guy that just grinds, man. He's going to make the cut, and he's going to be there, come late Saturday, and he never stops grinding. I love that guy.
Absolutely. I love Sungjae. And what I respect about him the most? That slow backswing.
Oh, yeah. Love it. I don't know how he does it.
I want to go back and just whip it, But,
I love him.
And it's great because I'm learning about the game, and I'm looking at he does it real slow for me, so I can see oh, my arm's supposed to be here and everything like that. But I'm always a big fan of Sungjae Im, the Colin Morikawas, the Siwoo Kims, because they're just rising and firing on tour, and that's what you want.
They have no fear. They really don't. These young guys, they have no fear whatsoever.
Yeah. So, and Mark was also saying here, Webb Simpson is in the sweet spot at the 10:18 tee time. Is that a good tee time for the Masters?
I guess. I mean, according to Mark, it is. I'll take his word for it.
Yeah, that works. He's been on top of things. I can dig it. I mean, but as far as that goes, so those are a couple of the guys I was looking at, and one more was Cameron Smith, 35-1. He's had great course success here, and he's a young guy. Like you said, these young guys are ruthless. And they go after it early, they have nothing to lose. And Cameron Smith, he's just been a guy that's been he hasn't missed a cut here. He's been the top 6 in 2 of his last 4 Masters. A solid season so far. 4th at the Genesis, 11th at WGC, 17th at the Players, and he's 8th in the field in birdie or better percentage, which I think is going to be very important here.
Yeah, he's on my list as a top 10 play. Let me get this. He can't see
it
in it, but he's in there. He's highlighted as top 10 plus 350. I love the Australian Joe Dirt. I love this guy.
That half mustache.
Oh yeah, yeah. He's gritty. He's grimy. He gives 0 Fs, and he is just going to fight you. I love this guy.
Yeah, it's weird because he doesn't really have the stats to do really good here, but he, for whatever reason, he really thrives here. It's just some guys just get up for some tournaments. You saw with Homa at the Genesis, it was a tournament he went to as a little kid, and just things of that. And with speed in Texas and everything, these guys, they're so good. But when they get that extra move to get that next step, they tend to do it because of that. So, jumping to top 20.
Yes.
What top 20s you got over here?
I have one top 20 that I'm going to play. I actually already played it, but it's Sergio Garcia.
Nice.
Plus 188. I think obviously he's won here before, and everybody has issues, with Sergio, and I get it. So do I. But I think mentally he's in a better spot right now than he was even after he won the Masters. And I think he's just sort of got a comfort level with who he is and where he is, that this is one of these guys, sort of like Lee Westwood, that is playing really well right now and has had success at Augusta. Westwood obviously never won it, but he's had success where they're going to rediscover some success. Westwood is another one of my plays in the top 10, which we'll get to. But Sergio Garcia, top 20, plus 188. I couldn't resist it.
No, and you know what about Sergio? He's third in the field in strokes gained tee to green, which is going to be really important. And, well, actually, he's third on strokes gained off the tee.
Yeah.
And as far as a tee to green, he's in the top 10 in the field. I think that's kind of overlooked for a guy that's older and he's had success here before. I think that's a really sharp play there. I have 3 top 20s I'm looking at. We talked about them before. Sun JM, plus 138. Ball striking machine, finished second, as you said before. Before the pandemic, honestly, he was playing the best golf out of anybody.
Yeah, he was. And then right after the pandemic, it was Daniel Berger.
Yeah, exactly. That's one guy I'm never on the right end of is Daniel Berger and Abraham Ancer. And I know we have Abraham Ancer.
Ancer screws me every time.
He's the worst, that little bugger. He hits those nice approach shots and then start missing putts. He always hits putts against me.
Yeah.
When I'm with him, he can't make a putt.
Yeah, and the other guy that I always have wrong is Ryan Palmer. I love him.
Your doppelganger.
But, yeah, well, my doppelganger. I actually had the opportunity to hang out with him for about a half hour down at the Honda at the iBar, and he's a great guy. We talked football for 35 minutes, and he's super cool. So I always like him. He's a great player. He's having a resurgence in his career, probably playing the best golf of his career. But every time I pick him, he's tied for 45th.
Yeah, exactly. I know if we would have been able to pull off that answer on the live bet, I would have had a little tequila for this episode. But unfortunately, I had to back that off just because of him. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to drink a delicious Yingling.
There you go.
The beer of Heat Ratio Sports over here. So
there you go. Well, he owns a tequila company, doesn't he? Ancer.
He does. Abraham Ancer does own a tequila company.
I think that's what he wears on his hat. Yeah.
He does. You're right. And a couple other top 20s. Webb Simpson, this is actually my favorite top 20 at plus 110. His consistency, he has great course history. We talked about him so much for the most part. He's second in the field in strokes gained around the green, 11 strokes gained putting, and he's 6th in the field strokes gained total. And he's 21st in PGA and birdie or better percentage. He's a guy that isn't the sexiest of players, but this is my favorite top 20. And then Cameron Smith at plus 138. That's also another guy like a top 20. You're more bullish on with the top 10 with more bang for your buck, if you will. But Cameron Smith there plus 138.
Now, if there's a guy, just to go philosophy on you, if there's a guy that you love in a top 10, do you also take him in a little insurance bet in the top 20 if it's plus money, or do you leave that alone?
Well, for the most part, when I go with the top 20s, I typically like to put them in with the winners for the most part because I feel like they're going to fall into that category. It's just, I guess I'm diving head first into the water for the most part. So I'm going all in on them at that point. I'm trying not to do too much of a security blanket. My security blanket's at like top 20 at this point, I feel like. And then the 30 and the 40, I feel like it's just like, let's make the cut, and then I'm halfway there. So
gotcha.
Yeah. So speaking of top 10, what top 10s do you have there?
I got hinted at him before. Lee Westwood plus 400 last I looked on DraftKings on a top 10. I mean, this guy's, is playing some of the best golf he's ever played. He's played it at some really difficult golf courses, which really tells me a lot at both at Bay Hill and at the Players. He was outdueled by, Bryson DeChambeau and Justin Thomas, two of the greatest players going right now. So I think that Westwood, he's always been a guy who's been a great iron player, great ball striking guy. Mm-hmm. The putter has always been the thing that kind of let him down. He's got this new grip to the putter, and I think that it's sort of freed him up a little bit. His son's going to be on the bag this week, not his fiance. Mm-hmm. But either way, I think he's enjoying playing golf, and I think it's pretty obvious. And I think he's sort of got an idea about his game where, hey, it doesn't matter if I ever win one of these things, but I'm going to come. There's only a few more times that I'm going to be able to play Augusta unless I do win it. So I'm going to enjoy myself. And I think when he's enjoying himself, which we've seen lately, he plays really good golf. Plus 400 on a top 10. I'm taking Lee Westwood.
No, I hear you. I was just going to ask you who's on the bag, if you will. The bag?
Yeah.
The bag?
The big. Yeah, his son is on the big. I prefer when the fiance is on the big.
Fiance on the big.
Oh, yeah, me too. Yeah, me too.
He's a little more mojo with his nice little new fiance. They're in the honeymoon period.
Right.
He's just doing a little shimmy. He's like, he's really grooving himself. He doesn't ask her for anything. He just likes being shown off for the new fiance during the honeymoon period. So I don't know. I mean, I just feel like he gets into a little groove over there.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, he's sort of showing off,
Yeah, he's showing off to his nice hot, fiance. He's got in the bag, and as far as the top 10 goes, I'm going Matthew Fitzpatrick. This is a guy that I feel like has a real good shot of even winning this tournament at plus 275. I think he's definitely going to be in contention. He's first in the field in strokes gained putting, which is going to be huge here.
Yeah.
He's the guy that always leaves the pin in,
Mm-hmm.
That's more of the young guy thing now, I guess, for the most part. He's 8th in strokes gained total, about 66% fairways, 9th at the Players, 10th at the API, 11th WGC, and 5th at the Genesis. And he's had a 6 here before. He's never missed a cut here either. And I just think he has the dog, the fight in him with all the skill set, kind of overlooked. And I really like him here.
Yeah, he's a big Ryder Cup type of player for the
100%.
European side, and I think as he the thing that I think a lot of people underestimate about him is he looks like he's 12 years old, and he don't hit it like he's 12 years old. This guy can freaking play, so that's a great pick.
Yeah, it's funny. I saw this thing on Twitter. It was like Sungjae M and Matt Fitzpatrick. They're both in a picture, and like, this is like an 8th grade photo, like tea time over here. They both look like they're 8 years old because Sungjae has like the bowl cut,
right?
when I was younger, and everything.
Plus, I think Matt's graduated from Northwestern too, so he's got that going for him.
Oh yeah, he's got the nerd alert going on there.
Exactly.
So as far as top 10s, you already went through here. You have any top 5s at all?
No, I don't get to play top 5s on DraftKings, but I threw Colin Morikawa, Cameron Smith we talked about in a top 10, and then Lee Westwood. Those were the top 10s. Where do you get the top 5s? Like what book?
I believe DraftKings has it actually. If you go to the three-way, like if you go to the main winner spot, there's winner, 5, and 10. It's like a three-way line there.
Oh, okay.
So I threw a couple top 5s in there anyway for the most part. Pretty much guys I think they're going to win. I mean, if you're going to throw in the top 5, they're probably going to win. Bryson plus 275 and Matthew Fitzpatrick.
Oh yeah, I see it.
Yeah. I believe he was around 275 also, which is weird. I don't know, maybe that was a typo by me. But that's where I was kind of looking at. But when winning Augusta here, who's your guy you think's going to win here?
I got Justin Thomas as my guy. With what he did, and he kind of overcame, some difficulties in January. Some were, self-inflicted, but he fought back and he won one of the most difficult tournaments, of the year at the Players, and he played phenomenal golf. I knew he was going to win on about the 8th hole. I was texting some buddies. I'm like, listen, forget about everybody else. Justin Thomas is playing the best. He's going to win it. And sure enough, he did. And he's, when he gets dialed in like that, he can hit it a long way. He can hit tremendous iron shots. He's incredible with a wedge. Like, you watch this guy with his wedge game, and I'm, talking all different degrees of wedges and different shots he can play, from 30 yards, 10 yards, 50 yards, you name it, he's got it. And the putter gets rolling. He's had some success here, not great success, but I think this could be a really good week for Justin Thomas.
Yeah, I heard him over interview. He was pretty much saying that he just had to not care as much at this course, because he's like, I know my game fits well here. I'm 28 now. Hopefully I can calm it down a little bit. He's like, there's things I can't control. And he's like, I just have to realize that. And I think that's important for him, because, all right, so when DJ plays his best, nobody can beat DJ. Am I right?
Right.
So, but I think personally, Justin Thomas is the best overall player on tour based on all the skill sets of driving, ball striking, putting, and that sorts. There's 4 guys that I really like here. Justin Thomas is one of them. I like Colin Morikawa 31.5 to 1. He's just an absolute monster.
He is.
He can win tournaments. He won the WGC already. He's won a major. I mean, he is the up and coming guy, ball striking machine, just like Justin Thomas. I like Matthew Fitzpatrick 40 to 1. I think he has a real legitimate shot here as well. And then finally, my favorite that I think is going to win. I don't play him all the time to win, but I just feel like this is a spot where he learned something in November, and that's Bryson DeChambeau at 11.5 to 1. He tried to beat Augusta last time. He did beat Wingfoot, so he felt invincible at that point, and I think he got a reality check, and I think he actually lost some weight, I heard, supposedly, so I don't think he's as bulky as he was before. So I don't think he's looking to just take over on a course. We know he's got the driving distance. This course is second most important with driving distance. And I know the rough isn't even that really high here. He's usually great at hitting out a high rough. So just a little bit of rough right there. He plays 3 clubs. He plays a driver, wedge, and putter. That's pretty much what he does for the most part.
Right.
I don't think he plays anything else. Am I right?
No, he doesn't play like a driving iron or anything like that.
Yeah. I don't see him with a 7 iron.
No, right.
That's my favorite club. I love the 7 iron.
Yeah. Yeah. He doesn't really play any utility clubs either, as Faraday likes to refer to.
3 hybrid.
Right. Yeah. I have one of those.
Oh, I do too.
I got a 3 and a 4. 4 hybrid might be my favorite club in the bag outside of the driver.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that's my next move, to get some new irons eventually, because I end up getting some used TaylorMade. What are they called? I forget what they're called, but some old TaylorMades, and they're pretty good. But eventually, I'm going to get some new irons. But as far as that goes, Bryson, I mean, he's number 1 in the field in strokes gained off the tee. He's 8 strokes gained putting, first in the field in strokes gained total, 4 strokes gained tee to greens, first in eagle average. I can just go on and on with this guy. He hits the ball a million yards. He's just locked in, more humbled, as I said. And I just feel like he's going to use this distance to his advantage. He's actually been pretty good. I'm going to bring something up real quick with Bryson here. 1 second. His ball striking numbers actually have been pretty good of late. He's been in the positives in, let me see, like 12 straight rounds. Well, 10 out of 12 rounds. The couple we had like a minus 0.07. But still pretty close to even. His ball striking has actually been pretty on, and that's scary, because if he's actually ball striking well, I mean, that's like his weakness to his game, I feel like. Am I right?
No, you're right. And, he's a great putter. A lot of people don't even give him credit for how 100%. Great of a putter he is. Although putting at Augusta is a little bit different, but his best finish at a Masters, it's T21 back in 2016. So he hasn't had great success yet. But that obviously could change in 2 rounds.
And I believe that tournament he won top amateur, correct? I believe.
Yes, because he won 0 money and he played all 4 rounds. He was the amateur that year.
Yeah. He won. I think he won best amateur there, and he was probably about 100 pounds at that point. But,
yeah. Yeah,
but
incredible.
I just feel like with this kind of distance, and I think if they didn't have that Masters in November, I don't think I'd be as bullish with him. I think it was just something he could learn from. He's a very smart guy. He's always looking to break down courses. And I think this is his spot. I don't want to miss out on him. I know he's 11.5 to 1. I know it's kind of low. I'm not usually that kind of guy, but
right.
If anybody that you're going to look to possibly live, if somebody falls apart,
live.
Yeah, like if there's a guy that's like low odds and he kind of has like a not that great of a first round, you can get some decent odds on him. Is there somebody that you're looking at?
Um, like a guy that has good or low odds
Yes.
and then has a bad first round. Maybe like, a guy like John Rahm.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what he's going to do on Thursday. He's had a lot
No
going on in
idea.
his life the last couple of weeks and days. And, a lot of people are thinking it could free him up and he could have the greatest 4 days of his life. I don't know. He could also, he could also shoot 76 on Thursday. So, but if he does, shoot 72, 73, something like that, I think he's a guy he's a fighter. So he's not one of these guys that gives up after a bad day. He gets frustrated with himself with a bad shot, but I don't think he goes day to day with it. So if he has like a so below, John Rahm type of round, maybe I jump in on him.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of weird. I mean, birth of his first child. I mean,
Yeah.
myself and John Rahm are completely different. He's a multimillionaire. I'm just Joe Schmo. But, when I first had my first child, I was like, oh my gosh, my life's changed forever. And I was just like, oh my, this changes everything. I have to take care of these kids, blah, blah, blah. I don't know if he's going to get that kind of feeling or not. So, but John Rahm, I didn't know if he was going to be in the tournament because his birth of his child was going to be coming around, things
Right.
of that nature. So I kind of pushed him off the side, but he has all the ball striking skills and he's great at driving the ball, even though it hasn't really shown of late. But anything could happen. It's the Masters. I mean, he could get up for this tournament. One guy that I'm looking at to go in live, if he's kind of faltering a little bit, is Jordan Spieth. His odds are just outrageous right now. At 11.5 to 1, I just can never take Jordan Spieth there, especially in this kind of field. I feel like that's outrageous.
Yeah, it really is. It's because everybody loves him. I mean, and they love him when he's playing well. So he's one of the darlings of the tour. But yeah, you're right. I'm trying to think of another guy that like Koepka. Where do you stand on him? He can hardly even bend over to pick up the tee after he hits a ball with that knee. I don't know. I might bet on him to miss the cut.
Yeah, it's really weird. I was trying to find a line for him for missing the cut. I didn't see it at the time. If you could maybe see if that pops up at all. But I actually talked to somebody that's kind of on the end on the PGA Tour, and they were saying that he actually looks a little overweight, actually.
Yeah.
And he looks a little overweight there.
Yeah. Now, I'm not one to call anybody overweight, but
well, sure, but he's a world-class athlete.
Right.
Whatever.
Right.
I'm overweight. I already know this.
Right. Yeah, I'm looking here. Finau, Spieth, Zalatoris. I don't see Brooks Koepka being offered.
Yeah, it might be too much of a liability at this point. But I mean, he did that little like Shawn Michaels move where he did like a knee and like the leg, and he's like bending down, getting the ball and everything. I think he's trying to show off to show people that he could his knee's fine, but he even said himself the number one problem going to be for him is walking the course.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it's the elevation change at that place is stunning. I mean, it's a lot of up and down. It really is. So
yeah,
not easy.
No, that's what I heard. I mean, you've been there. I have not been there, but I heard it, the walking there is ridiculous.
And when I go to a golf tournament, and I've been to many majors and regular tournaments, I'm one of those guys that likes to walk around and see the course.
Sure.
I don't just park myself in a grandstand near the beer stand. You know what I mean? Like I like to get out and move around. So I walk the entire property, twice, and it's a lot.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. When I was at the BMW Championship, they had that rain. I was supposed to go on Sunday, and then it got pushed to Monday. So I ended up going with my father-in-law, who I usually go to tournaments with and everything. And it was on Monday, and nobody was there.
Yeah.
Like, literally nobody was there. You could walk around, and, you could get up close to golfers. I got next to Justin Rose after this ridiculous flop shot. I was, from 8 feet away from him, and he hits this flop shot that I just still don't even know how he hit it. I mean, that's why I did the pros. But I mean, I love walking around the course, getting a good feel, taking in a beverage, enjoying the scenery. That's one of the things I love about golf.
Oh, it's the greatest thing to attend, if you ask me. It's just awesome. You're out in nature, man. You're eating a hot dog, you're drinking a beer, and you're watching the greatest players hit, the greatest shots. But I don't know that Justin Rose has hit a flop shot like that since then. His game has gone way south.
Yeah, once he left the States, I think he did a little well, but that was about it on the European tour. But everything here, he's been no good.
Yeah.
I also wanted to throw in one more thing since we're talking about missed cuts over here. There's one guy that I like for a missed cut, and that's Siwoo Kim at plus 163. I was kind of bullish on him last week because it was a less.
So was I.
What's up?
So was I.
Yeah, he was a guy that was so good around the green, and he's won the Players. He's just been in terrible form, and his best finish has been here at 21st with one missed cut. He's missed 2 cuts at the API and Genesis, and you're getting plus money at plus 163. It's not a huge number, but he finished 23rd at the Valero, which I think is embarrassing for him, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, there's only going to be about 20 players miss the cut.
Yeah.
I mean, it's 88 players. And what do they take? Do they take top 65 and ties or top 70 and ties?
Somewhere there, top 65.
Somewhere around there. So there's 18 to 20, 23 players that'll miss the cut. Not a lot.
I want to ask you about one more golfer. He's a guy a lot of people were taking, and I was looking at his stats, and his stats weren't as good as I thought they were. It's Patrick Cantlay. Where do you stand with him?
A lot of people like him this week. And, if you would have asked me this after last November, I would have said, yeah, maybe you take a future on Patrick Cantlay at next April's Masters. He's another one of these guys with all kinds of ability that just doesn't really do anything to jump out at me and make me say, yes, he's the guy. I don't know what it is about him. He's really solid.
Yeah, he's solid. I just think he's a West Coast player, and I think he just really likes being on the West Coast. He feels comfortable.
Yep.
I think when he goes to the East, like when he played in Florida and stuff, he just wasn't that great. And now he's at Augusta. I don't know. I just don't like him here. I almost would want, if I was feeling really froggy and I wanted to leave, I knew it's like plus 450 to miss the cut. If you really wanted to be like real contrarian for that, I know a lot of guys will probably hate me for that because a lot of guys are taking him to win, I feel like. But for like plus, I think he's plus 450. Is that what he's at to miss the cut?
Cantlay?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just trying. His no is plus 425 on DraftKings. On DraftKings.
Yeah, on DraftKings. Yeah, I mean, if you really wanted to be like,
that'd be pretty bold
on play.
Yeah.
Because I just don't feel like there's any big point that he's like pretty good off the tee, approach shots, all that, everything, but I don't know. The whole East Coast swing hasn't been really good for him.
No.
When I'm looking at this course, driving distance is second most important. Birdie or better percentage is third. Strokes gained total fourth. Strokes gained tee to green seventh. Strokes gained around the green 10th. And strokes gained putting 10th. I mean, this is pretty much telling you who's been good overall on tour, who's not been missing the cuts, and that's pretty much who's going to do good here. And I heard something that. As far as double bogeys or worse, I think the winner of every Masters of late, I believe, hasn't had more than 2 or 3 double bogeys the entire tournament. So you really can't make any mistakes here.
Right. You can't put up a big number. You got to do well on the par fives, obviously. And, Sunday, you got to navigate 10, 11, and 12. And then you get to your scoring holes.
Yeah, I'm looking at number 2, the Pink Dogwood. It's a par 5.
Yeah.
575, pretty much dogwood.
That's the right to lefter with the bunker on the right.
Left, pretty straightforward.
And it's downhill.
A lot of eating there.
It's very eagleable. I mean, I saw Louis Oosthuizen make double eagle there on a nice Sunday, I believe. As a matter of fact, I think that might have been the year that he ended up losing to Bubba Watson, if I'm correct. But yeah,
no, I think you're right.
Because they put the pin in the far right corner, and if you hit that green just right, it'll run right down there. It's a great hole.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like a very reachable hole, especially for Bryson there. I mean, I know a lot of these have these sloping greens and elevations, as you said, going up to the, your walk. Some of these holes, you're literally walking up a hill to get there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no doubt about it. Elevated greens. 3 is like that, and so is 4. 3 and 4
Yeah, I'm
are
looking at
two
3, the
tough
Flowering
holes.
Peach right here.
They're
The
tough
par 4
holes.
350, and it looks like you're climbing a mountain.
And 5 is a really tough par 4. They lengthened it a couple years ago. It's a left or right to left hole, but the green is so difficult.
Yeah. I honestly, Harry, I cannot wait for this tournament. I'm so excited. I'm going to be on with Sean Brace on a daily ticket on Wednesday, and I'm going to be live in studio on Friday. So I haven't been
Nice.
in studio since like a couple Super Bowl years ago when I was doing my football thing.
Beautiful.
But you know what else? You know what else I'm really excited about? The golf tournament coming up for Swinging and Dinging. You want to talk about that?
Oh yeah, the Swing and Ding It Open, August the 17th, I
17th,
believe.
yep.
Yeah, out at the 1912 Club, benefiting the Magical Mila Foundation, which is a tremendous organization. You should really investigate what they're doing, man. I mean, it's just incredible. You know, it's an illness, a disease that really isn't all that well known, and then you know the physicians really don't know how to tackle it yet, but yet it's out there, and they're doing some great work at CHOP with that. So the proceeds benefit that foundation, and some of the prizing is just going to be off the charts, man. Like I'm not even allowed to tell you what the long drive contest is, but it's a trip. That's all I will tell you. But there's going to be DJs. There's going to be beer out there. You know, we got breweries providing all the beer. We got a tremendous lunch spot that's going to be providing lunch. Plus, we got the food at the 1912 Club. It's going to be really good. Plus the golf course has been totally revamped. In fact, it's not even yet open all the way. That won't open until April 17th, which is next Saturday, not this Saturday. With all the new holes, but you're going to be able to get that in prime condition.
No, that's awesome. I'm really excited. I already signed up. I have a twosome with my brother-in-law. He's kind of he's a ringer golfer wise. I'm just there for the ride.
Right.
But I'm real excited. There's going to be cigars there as well. I love having a good cigar.
Yeah, it's a guy's day, but we welcome women too.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. We don't discriminate over here.
No.
Come to join the party.
Absolutely.
I'm excited about to play the course, honestly, because I never played it before, and I was looking at it on the internet, and it looks amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the first hole, totally changed. They got rid of a couple of holes and added new holes and changed some existing holes, and it's really shaping up to be really good. It's been like a 3-year process, but we're about coming to the end of it right now.
All right, nice. Yeah, I cannot wait for that. Are there still tickets available for it?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You got to just contact Swing It and Ding It on Instagram or Twitter. In Twitter, it's @it_ding, and on Instagram, it's @Swing It and Ding It.
Okay, nice. Yeah, I cannot wait. August 17th. And Heat Ratio Sports are also going to be giving away the first Phillies Yingling prize pack tonight, so be on the lookout for that on Twitter as well. And that'll do it for Off the Tee. I could be talking all day, but I think we pretty much hit every aspect coming to the betting world here. I want to thank Harry Mayes again for coming on, a guy that I loved hearing. With the Philly sports scene, now he's on the middle. I listen to at 11 a.m. on YouTube. Very entertaining with you, Barrett Brooks and Eitan Shander.
Thanks.
And thanks again. I'd love to do this again sometime, break down the course, shoot the shit, and
appreciate it.
Thanks again.
Love it, man. Thanks a lot, man. Good luck on your bets, Chris.
All right. Thank you. You too. Let's go make that money.
Exactly.